everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Domestic Boyfriends podcast, where we talk about video games, anime, TV shows, movies, comic books, and whatever else we want to talk about. My name is Dean, and always with me is my lovely co-host Vincent.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. So this week we have some news, and this week we are talking about Tales of the Jedi. Tales of Jedi? Was the in it? I don't remember.
It was.
It was Tales of the Jedi.
Yep.
Very specifically two Jedi. We got the Tales of two Jedi. Two. I mean, there's a lot to talk
There
about
were a
there.
couple in there.
There were a couple Jedi. But of course, like every week, we are going to be talking about some news. So we're going to take a bite out of a couple news sources that we have and try and make them a little bit easier to consume for you guys. We have a big one for Marvel. We'll grab that later. We're going to talk about some potential leaks. So if you don't like that, then skip that later on. I don't really have anything for DC. I'm pretty sure something did happen. I just don't. Nothing caught my eye. I don't know if it's the same for you or not.
DC's been kind of hiding.
Yeah,
They've been a little quiet
yeah. I mean,
since
after
Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out. I'm not going to lie.
if I released Gotham Knights and thought it was a good game, I'd also do the same. I had some interesting comic book news. Did you know that someone's making a Popeye comic?
Oh?
Yeah, it's called Popeye I Lie Popeye, and it's supposed to be a story about how he lost his eye.
Oh.
Yeah, really interesting. The art really caught my eye. See what I did there? Talking about eyes.
Singular?
Yeah, one eye, not the other one. Didn't really stare at it that much. Um, I think that's it for comics. I think I saw something before, but I don't quite remember. You have anything for nothing for comics? You have anything for TV?
EV.
TV news?
Uh, well, Wednesday, um,
Like
the show
today?
about Wednesday Addams
Oh,
has released on Netflix and has been breaking records that had previously been set by Stranger Things season 4.
uh,
Um,
I've watched
I've
it.
not yeah.
I if anybody, for those who watch the podcast, know that this rating does not go out very often. I give it 9 out of 10. It's
Ah,
very enjoyable, especially if you like the Addams Family lore. It kind of just like builds upon some stuff. And Jenna Ortega did a really good job with like portraying her and not being like a rehash of anything that we've seen already.
my
I also
family. I haven't seen it, but my sister and my mother binged it. It's already
Yeah,
done. They're
it was
moving
really
on to something
good.
else now.
Me and my fiance watched it. It I want there to be more. I had some like when we announced this like when we talked about it like when it got announced, but like at first I thought like it couldn't work in like a modern day setting, but it really did. Because like the whole idea of the Adams family is that they're a juxtaposition of like modern society, and like it still works. It's just like some of it isn't like like they're goths. Yeah, there's like a whole room full of goths over there. You know what I mean? So some things work, some things don't. But I feel like they really did really well with this and keeping everything both like familiar to people who know Adam's family and like new stuff for people to build on. So 9 out of 10, pretty good.
Awesome.
Um, I I hate to bring this up because last week we talked a lot about death, but we lost
Oh
a
no.
pretty important person in the realm of TV, especially childhood entertainment. For anybody who has watched anything related to the Japanese masked superhero genre, will know that a specific series got its startup by taking a specific show and adapting it into a very well known and recognizable Saturday morning not cartoon Saturday morning TV show back in the early '90s, and it's honestly like reflecting on it, it's really tough to say. Jason David Frank was found dead November 19th of this year in a hotel bedroom, and it's a lot. It's a lot on the community. My best wishes go out to his wife and his family. Some things have come out in the news about the situation and possible things. I'm not going to go into rumors and speculations, but something that was confirmed is that it was self inflicted. And if you ever need help, there are sources, there are people you can call if you ever feel like everything's feeling kind of tough. Jason David Frank was most famously known as his role for Tommy Oliver on Power Rangers. He was the first Green Ranger, the first Sixth Ranger. Everybody's favorite person after they saw him because everybody wanted to be the Red Ranger until Tommy showed up. He reprised his role multiple times and kind of became the original like Tony Stark of like Power Rangers. I think his like legacy, yeah, his legacy was definitely like somewhere comparable to what Tony Stark is in like the MCU. Has impacted multiple people's lives, both on like an entertainment level, but if you follow JDF's career within the past couple years, and especially his time off the show, he built a career off of what he loved. He was a mixed martial artist. He even created his own form of martial arts. Ran a karate, not karate. He ran his own a dojo. He still acted and was working on a fan project before his passing. Fully funded by the fans. He was always there for his fans, always at conventions greeting his fans, and yeah, it was crazy for me to see the tweet. It was crazy for me to see my brother's text to say that he had passed because as a person who grew up watching Power Rangers, this man single handedly influenced the trajectory of my personality because leading from Power Rangers has very much influenced what I like and don't like and things I find entertaining. So, yeah. I don't know how I don't know if you need a moment. I don't know if you've heard about this prior to me
I
just
did.
saying it.
I have.
Uh,
It was a hard one. My one of my mainstay comfort shows growing up was specifically Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Um, and then from there, I went and watched the original Mighty Morphin and just like devoured anything and everything where um, where he was in.
yeah,
It's a hard blow. It
yeah.
really is. He was such an amazing guy.
Yeah, he was always there for his fans and he was there for his co-stars from what we were told. He was just all around a great guy. Fumbles here and there like everybody, every human being, but we'll have to we'll have to do an episode about Power Rangers. I love Dino Thunder, so I wouldn't be mad about talking about something of the likes. But
Absolutely.
yeah, pretty sad news. But I feel like we couldn't have this episode without talking about it because it's it's pretty important. Um, if you're good, we can move on to what we have in movies.
Yeah. A sequel to a classic Christmas movie came out on HBO Max and is now streaming. Um, and it's called A Christmas Story Christmas. I don't know if you watched A Christmas Story growing up or not,
Yes.
but truly an all-time classic for comedy Christmas movies. Really set the bar for like what a what a Christmas movie could really be. Um, my family watched it together. We've always been a big fan of A Christmas Story. We give each other ornaments every single year, and uh, there were tons and tons of A Christmas Story ornaments. We had the lamp on the tree all the time. You know, the national award. Um, but the sequel came out. It's on HBO Max, able to be streamed, and it's absolutely fantastic. Very faithful um, to the original story. It's with all of the original cast except for, well, unfortunately, the father, because the actor is no longer with us. Um, and they did write that into the story. The basic premise is that Ralphie, his father passes, and now Ralphie is in charge of making the best Christmas ever out of nothing.
Huh.
He's been away from Hogan for a long time now, and he's coming back. You get to see familiar faces like Flick, um, and and his bully. Um, everyone is there. It's very very good.
That's good to hear. I didn't know that it was out or even being made. So I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds promising. Um,
Uh, anything from you?
yeah, I had a couple things. So Peter Jackson's joining the he's I don't know if he's gonna be directing, but he's joining the King Kong miniseries that's gonna be on Disney Plus. I don't know if it's the same thing related to the MonsterVerse miniseries or not. Some names are being thrown around, so I'm not exactly sure, but be a nice addition to the team. Speaking of the giant monsters, the best giant monster is back. It was announced, I think, November 20th that Netflix is making an adaptation for Gamera, whether that be in the same vein as like the Netflix Godzilla adaptations or more in the vein of what uh, is currently being created by. Uh, we literally had this conversation last recording about who makes the current Godzilla film. Legendary Pictures. We're not sure. We just got an announcement, which is crazy because Gamera hasn't had something since like the '90s, I think. Also, last thing, rumored Avatar: The Last Airbender animated film release is going to be October 2025. Had a couple sources stated. Some dates were around the same time, but 2025 and October seem to be the ones that are sticking. Avatar Studios has been working on a lot. Not a lot of it's been in the news, but they definitely been working on stuff. I have a couple more things until we get into our big thing that we want to talk about. Do you have anything like anime, manga, video game, miscellaneous related?
Yeah. Um, I don't know if we've ever brought it up on the podcast, but Dee and I both play Magic the Gathering. Been a big part of my life for a very long time. Another big thing that I'm really into is Transformers. Recently, they've added uh, Transformers cards to the game that you can actually play with and are legal in things like Commander and other stuff. But they just announced that coming up on December 5th, there are going to be 3 new secret lairs, um, all devoted to Transformers. Um, they're not going to be original cards. They're going to be reprints of other existing cards with new artwork and then some flavor text. But we have one where Megatron and Optimus are both Blightsteel Colossus and Darksteel Colossus going after the Allspark, which is doubling cube. Uh, we have another secret lair that's basically just filled with references to the classic Transformers movie, with artwork featuring things uh, like Hot Rod becoming Rodimus Prime, uh, Optimus going to fight Megatron, Megatron becoming Galvatron. Spoilers for the
Transformers the
Transformers
movie.
movie. And then there's also another secret layer that is full of full art basic lands depicting different planets from the Transformers series. Um, all of these again are going to be going on sale December 5th,
Can't believe we
and are
spoiled
all,
that movie.
at least I know, right? Scandalous. Optimus dies.
Rodimus takes his heart out.
Rodimus takes his heart out.
Eat it.
Um, but they're all going to be either $30 as a non-foil or a $40 purchase as a foil version.
Oh, so excited for that
I
secret
am
lair.
very upset because I just spent $66 on buying a Blightsteel Colossus.
Yeah, well, the cookie
It
crumbles
happens.
and you pay an extra monies to Wizards of the Coast. It's okay. Just spend the money.
I want a refund.
Just spend the money.
Yeah.
Um. Ooh, sorry. Coffee cough. Um. So, along with that, um, so I have some anime manga things. There's been a countdown on the official Berserk website for like, it started at 14 days, like 5 days ago. It's at 9 days right now. We don't know what the countdown is to.
Oh,
So, for those who don't know, the original author of Berserk has passed, and his best friend. I brought it up on the podcast before. His best friend is was given the blessing to continue the story. It might be that. It might be Berserk anime. It might be some other Berserk announcement. But this has been happening, and in 9 days is the 8th. It's not this Thursday, not this upcoming Thursday, but the Thursday after December 8th. So we'll see. We'll see what that is. I'll definitely do a follow up to whatever the news is on that. And for any fans of Baki and Tekken 8, they're doing a crossover. I feel like it's extremely fitting given the proportions that Tekken characters have and Baki characters have. So, uh, interesting. But that isn't the main event that we have going on this week in the news. We're going to be chatting for a little bit about some potential leaks. I don't want to go too crazy on this. Maybe just talk about some things about it. We got a list of potential leaks for Phase 5, 6, and 7 of Marvel. Right off the bat, is there anything that you saw and you were just like, why or how or yes?
well, I'm both excited and disheartened that Deadpool 3 isn't slated until apparently November of 2024. But hey, it's awesome that it's there. It's something to look forward to at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we get there. Um, all 2024 just seems sort of stacked with Ghost Rider, Deadpool, both Ghost Rider and Deadpool making their appearances in the MCU. We're getting double Spider-Man that year with both the freshman year animated series as well as Spider-Man 4 existing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Daredevil as well existing there. Mostly, I'm just really excited for 2024.
Yeah, looks pretty stacked. I'm really interested for so like it's the time between different things. So like if you see so we got introduced to Namor this year. We have to wait 4 more years apparently until we see him in his own series. Um Something that kind of got my eye was the Secret Warriors and then the Power Pack. You know who the Power Pack are, right?
No.
They are four kids with powers, like literal children, and they fight crime.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, and yeah, there's a couple of things. X Men, we anticipated that was gonna be later. Um, I don't understand what the World War Hulk series is supposed to be about. You know, they kind of threw away that whole storyline, especially with the end of She Hulk. Like, it doesn't feel earned. Um, Also, apparently, the Ten Rings being in development for fall of 2027. I don't understand why we're doing a Ten Rings movie. I mean, like, I enjoy an origin story, but I don't know. I feel like there's just some things that were told, like, can be told better within the movie or have been told better within the movie or, like, whatever projected time that they've been given before, uh, like, either, like, the death of a character or something like that, that it doesn't need, like, a total origin. Like, do you think that we had to know how Nick Fury lost his eye?
hmm?
Do you think that we had to know that Nick Fury how he lost his eye?
not really.
Like
I I don't really think so.
that's
What he lost it because of the cat, right?
yeah. Like I don't. I think that was like the mystery that leaves the character like pretty cool. Um,
Yeah.
a Nomad series. Nomad has like in the comics. I mean, it's been other people, but like I'm pretty sure like the first or second Nomad was Steve Rogers after he gave up the title of Captain America, or it might have been after he died. I'm not really sure. Apparently a Mephisto special, which that's one thing. A Young Avengers series and not a movie. Um, yeah, Illuminati series, which that's I don't know. I don't know. The leaks seem to have a lot, but it's just like I don't know.
It's I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that they have this all planned out this far in advance, but it seems like a lot, you know?
Oh yeah, no. It seems like a lot, and like you can you can plan out, but like depending on people's responses from things, like it may or may not actually stick properly. I don't know. But I only hope for good things now, because I hate thinking that things are bad and not being able to enjoy it for what it is. Um, but yeah. Are you ready? You want to talk more about it, or do you want to move on to the topic?
I'm ready to do the topic.
All right, Tales of the Jedi. Um, I am pretty well knowledged on this because I watched it all today. Um, Pretty easy. This gave me the vibes of we didn't talk about Visions on the podcast, but when I watched Visions, like just very short episodes, very quick, very clean. I thought they were going to be contained stories. I was very confused when I watched the first two episodes, and then the third episode just continued with the Dooku story, and then after episode four, I was just like, oh, okay, I understand. Um, do you just want to do it like our reactions to each of the episodes,
Sure.
and then do like an as a whole talk about it? So episode one, life and death. We get this is the kidnapping episode, right?
Yes.
No, no, no. This is the Ahsoka episode. So,
Oh, well, yeah.
yeah, well, yeah, kidnapped. Yeah, she got catnapped. Really interesting. I don't remember ever reading or like any expanded lore upon, even though there is confirmed a Jedi Master of her people. I need to look up these people's names because I know it was said in the thing. Um, she is a Togruta. Togruta. I don't know if you've ever wondered this about whether it was face paint or not, or if that was actually just markings on their skin. But this episode kind of answered it for me.
Yeah.
It's definitely just paint. Also, the white of their head tentacles is also paint or some type of coloring, which I never thought about. But I've
Having
always,
an emo face.
yeah, well, like in this, I love them going back to the Clone Wars art style with the animation. But it really like showed us like some paintbrush detail, like imperfect detail that I feel like the TV shows like live action didn't really show us. But yeah, it was really interesting. Her mom's badass. Also, they apparently it's part of their culture to take their 1 year olds out to hunt with them.
Apparently.
Yeah, that just kind
Get
of
them
like
from an early age, you know?
it kind of caught my eye. Some of them also like I don't know if they painted like different colors. Like some of them were orange, some of them were purple, some of them were pink. I'm not judging them. It's just like I was trying to find like a consistent pattern within the like because they all have like different. I don't want to call them like mandibles, but like their head spikes all are different, and like along with the different shades of like the way that they do like their like face markings and like their tentacle markings along with some of
Hmm.
them I think like actually putting like coloring on their skin. Like some are purple and some are pink, but I think naturally they're like orange. I was really confused. I was trying to find like a common pattern between between like the species, and I just couldn't. Besides the head tentacles.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? This episode pretty short. Pretty. All of them are short, but you don't really get too much except like Ahsoka was a badass kid. It's a pretty cool origin story. You know, you just tame a giant alien tiger.
As any normal person would do.
And immediately, like the outer woman was just like, she's a Jedi, which you know, it's not always safe to assume that someone force sensitive is a Jedi, but yeah, that was like a small Ahsoka origin. Get like a look into like her family life a little bit, like her people. Really interesting. They're like very traditional and like to the land, but like they have laser guns. So, episode two and episode two through four focus on Count Dooku. Okay, can you like you're probably more versed in Star Wars than I am. Did we already know that Qui-Gon Jinn was Dooku's apprentice?
Yes, we did.
When was that shown to us or told to us. Was that in episode? Was that in episode one that it was
It was
explained?
an
Episode two.
episode. I think it might have been episode 2.
He explains that Qui Gon. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. At the
Cause,
very least, I believe it happened during the Clone Wars
Cause it was like a haunting
series.
kind of like. It was a thing that was like always in the back of my head. I was just like, before Dooku like left the council, before Dooku left the Jedi Order, like I remember Qui Gon was his Padawan. And in episode two, titled Justice, we get a hostage situation where Dooku and Qui Gon, much younger Qui Gon and Dooku, go to save a senator's son, and it goes just about the way that I thought it was going to go. How do you feel about how'd you feel about this episode?
I didn't like seeing young Dooku's face. I'm gonna be real. It made me very uncomfortable. And also, like, it took me a minute to realize that it was Qui Gon. Qui Gon looked kind of fucking weird.
Yeah, I was just like,
Um,
I think this was Qui Gon Jinn. I hope this was Qui Gon Jinn.
yeah. Um, but it was cool. It was interesting to see that even like at like a much younger point, he was already starting to like have that darker edge to him. He's had that like weird hilted lightsaber for a long time.
Which is so
Um,
cool. Like I didn't expect. I think we had like the previews of it, like showing that even when he was on when he was a Jedi, that he had like that like curved lightsaber, which I think was
yeah,
cool. It's still cool no matter what side he's on. But
absolutely. Um, it was I don't know, I liked it.
it
Um,
went about as
yeah,
good as I thought it was going to go. With the Dooku just choking the guy out and like just murdering people.
yeah,
I think it's interesting to see like his descent like over the next couple episodes into the darkness because again, was this ever shown or was this the first time it's ever explained? Like I know like it was stated after Qui-Gon's death Dooku left and that he was seduced by the dark side with Sidious, but we
hmm
never saw it play out. And I
yeah.
think it's cool. I think it's cool to see all that, and even like the smaller things, because this is a younger Qui Gon. Not like he's still a Padawan. Did he have his? But his thing's off. He's a knight now. Like in this episode, I'm pretty sure he's a knight because
Uh,
he doesn't have
yeah,
his whatchamacallit. He doesn't have his braid. So it's still his. He's technically still his like master, but Qui Gon is no longer a Padawan. It was just interesting to see. Also, his hair looks kind of weird. Like I'm kind of more for like less hair, top balding Dooku, if I'm gonna be honest. He kind of, if
absolutely.
you look at the back, if you like freeze frame the back of his head, he kind of looks like one of those like me hairs. Like it's like a like a really straight polygon.
Yeah.
Episode three choices. We get an episode where Qui Gon Jinn and Mace Windu, both Jedi Masters, go to investigate. There's a lot of investigating going on. They go to investigate a planet where ooh, another Jedi Master has apparently died because it is proper for a Jedi's body to be buried in the Jedi Temple post mortem. So, do you know off the top of your head what Jedi died? Because they said the name and I
Uh,
was just like, ah.
I don't remember her name, but um, she definitely looked familiar. She was definitely one of the like council members that we had seen in the prequels.
Jedi Master Khatri.
Yeah.
Khatri. So, she was green.
She was always like one of my. She had like the black headdress. She was always one of my favorites from like a design standpoint.
Yeah,
From just seeing her in the prequels, and when they said her name, I like remembered her. I was like, oh, cool. And then they
she
said she was
did.
dead. I was like,
She
oh
did.
no.
Um, so we get Jedi Master Khatri is dead, and they they go to try and get the body. Dooku being Dooku, like wants to know like how and why. He thinks that there's more to it, and Mace Windu's just like we're on the orders of the council. Like we're just here to do what the council says, or if the Senate asks for anything. And Dooku's just like, yeah, whatever. He's just like he says the line like your your ability to follow orders is both commendable and like an irritant.
Yeah.
And great line. They figure out that Khatri was murdered by a group of not rebels, but like the guards of the senator because they wanted the senator dead. Because the senator was like ruining the planet and stuff. So they thought that killing the Jedi was going to be the best way to like assert their power and stuff like that. Rest in peace, Khatri. Could have just talked to her. You like watching these scenes, like you, it gives that better reinforcement of what we had like seen, especially like post Empire, of where people are like very distrusting of the Jedi because of rumors and stuff. This is
Yeah.
a day and age where the council in this episode, this is episode 3. This is Qui-Gon. This is right. We see at the end of it that Mace Windu takes Katri's place on the council, which Count Dooku is just like, "Oh, did you know about your promotion before we went out there?" And he's just like, "Maybe. I followed the rules. Blah 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 blah." But we're in an age where like the Jedi Council and like the Jedi, like there's way more Jedi in this than like
Yeah.
any of the movies have shown us. That they're obviously out in space. They're out in like the different sectors of controlled like Senate range. Some of them are in the Outer Rim, as we know from next episode with Qui Gon, of course, going to get Anakin. But something that is interesting to see is that distrust of Jedi, even though they think that they're just government dogs. And you see like the rebellion kind of consorting. We see it a little bit later on. I think it's interesting to see the different sides of like people both conforming and not conforming to the empire. And I think it's really interesting whenever like we watch stuff like Rogue One or like any of like the sequel stuff where people who aren't acquainted with Jedi talk about the Jedi or see a Jedi and they're just like,
Yeah.
wow, like that's crazy. And like the not the misconceptions that they have, but like the propaganda that's been fed to them, which may or may not be misconceptions because like some Jedi were very much like we had what that one guy from the Clone Wars, the one that like turned the clones against each other. Remember that amazing scene from that episode? They're like, "We're clones, clones. You're a clone. I'm a clone. We're all clones. Clone, you clone, me clone." He like takes the helmet off of his brother, and he's just like, "He's a clone too." Yeah, favorite line. But yeah, then we go to episode 4, which episode 4 like took me for a loop. Yaddle's confirmed. She's not a
Yeah.
Legends character.
Let's go.
Confirmed Yoda is not the last one. Well, now he might be the last one, but Yaddle's confirmed. This just pushes more towards the descent. This takes place literally in between episodes 1 and 2, which is a long gap, by the way. But it takes place like right after Qui Gon's death. Like in episode 1, that like fire, was that supposed to be the Jedi Council, or is that just like the at the time burial that they did on the planet? You know what I mean?
I think that was at the time on the planet.
Okay, because like the Jedi Council, of course, took the body and they were gonna like give it a burial and whatever. Uh, it was interesting to see, for one, how Dooku must have hit age and stress must have hit Dooku hard once he hit the dark side, because he literally looked the same from episode 2 to episode 4, and then we're supposed to believe that at the start of episode 2 that Dooku's a grayed old man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the scene, it's literally he sees Qui Gon. In this episode, he sees Qui Gon. He talks about like his stance on like the council and like the different problems that are coming up. Qui Gon had just came back from Tatooine and fighting Maul, and he reported it to the council, of course, that he fought a Sith. Talks to Dooku, and he's just like, "Oh, you really saw one, and I've been telling the council forever." And Yaddle's just like, "Yes, Dooku, shut up." And then he like talks about Obi-Wan. He's just like, "I'd like to meet him one day." This is, I'm just saying, well, Qui-Gon looks way older than Dooku does in this episode. Like, he looks at him and calls him master, and I was just like, this doesn't feel right. Like, Dooku should look older. At least just a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
He wasn't very gray there.
no, not at all. The stress only hit him after he turned to the dark side. Dark side meant
Apparently.
dark side means light hair. Light side means
Ah,
dark hair.
that's what happened. Because like usually they get the yellow and red eyes. He never
Yeah,
got that. What he got instead
was
was
gray hair.
gray.
Gray hair. Um, I like to think that Dooku like wasn't fully. He used the dark side of the Force, but I like to think that Dooku did generally think that his ways were conforming to the light, like we're
Yeah.
still aligned with the light, because he didn't fully succumb to that like dark side deification that Anakin did, which is probably
Hmm.
why it's 100% why he had him get Sidious had him offed by Anakin. Because we see in this episode, he fights Yaddle because Yaddle like follows him. He deletes the Jedi archive of Camino. That's something that I didn't think was gonna be talked about. The fact that the Jedi archive has like literally everything, and then when Kenobi looks up Camino, he's just like, "What's Camino?" It's because Dooku deleted it. He should have
Yeah, that
created.
was nice.
He the Jedi Temple apparently doesn't have backups. Also, this Jedi Temple is way more like high tech than like the one we see at like in anything. Remember in like the like in the old Republic games, they're literally just books. Most of
Yeah.
them are like books, not even holocrons, just books.
Take them out in their like light up books.
Yeah, and they're like these are discs. Well, like some of them are just books, like physical books. Though that is like the old Republic, but still, like technology's like still advanced. But and even in the movies, they're like those digital books. And like, wasn't it like in one of the legend stories that like the librarian like hid in the sewer, like trying to get the knowledge of the Jedi Temple out, right? Or something like
Um
that.
well there was that Darth Vader comic series where um she was like the runaway Jedi on Coruscant, the last
Mm,
one that knew who Anakin was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was Joe Costa, right?
Yes. I
who
want to
we
say
who
that's
we
right.
also saw in this episode. Who she is old because she looks old when Dooku looks young, and she looks super
She
old.
is old.
Well, yeah, because like she looks like old now in this episode, and like This is like Dooku between episode 1 and episode 2, which episode 1 between episode 1 and 2, that's like Anakin's like he's like 18 in episode 2, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Or he's like a late teenager. That's a long time. And like Jocasta's old looking. And like we literally see her up until Order 66 and she still looks old. Like
Very
it's
old.
crazy to me. Like she's not dead. The force be with you, man.
Does great things for your skin
Yeah. Um but
at old age.
Dooku fights Yaddle. Yaddle dies. Yaddle has like this like second wind where like she lifts the gate that crushed her and then just dies again. Um
I
it was
heard the Lego Yoda scream.
it was honestly kind of kinky where Sidious was just like my apprentice and then Dooku looked back and he was like master. I was just like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then Yaddle breaks the tension between them.
Guys, this has got me feeling a certain way. Oh, hi, Yaddle.
Oh, Yaddle. Oh, she did again. Anyway, master. Um. So, uh, yeah, and then from there, that's episode 2, and all of that. Um. Episode 5 is called "Practice Makes Perfect." It is a episode about abusing Ahsoka because that is literally what it's about. It's about her practicing her skills. Um, Anakin wants her to be greater than what the Order is trying to make her out to be. We see her practicing in the beginning with like these floating balls that shoot her, and they're supposed to be like battle droids. And Anakin's just like, nah, that's pussy shit. I'm gonna have you fight the 100, and I'm gonna make you fight the 50 first. And she's just like, okay. Half of the episode is just her being unconscious and them having to wake her up. Uh, we do like a time jump between when she starts to get it to like in the middle of the Clone Wars, where like apparently still practices it. I know it's like in not the like the later parts of the Clone Wars because Anakin doesn't have long hair. He still has short hair. So it's like in the middle-ish of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Because Anakin doesn't go to a barber.
Continuity.
He doesn't go to a barber. The closest thing he goes to uh the closest thing to going to a barber is when he gets like burned because now he doesn't have hair because
No,
he's just burned. He's like fried
that's messed
chicken.
up, but
Yeah,
also accurate.
yeah. No, that's how you can tell the timeline. It's Ahsoka's like the length of her tentacle and how long Anakin's hair is. Also, how voluptuous Kenobi's beard is, but that's besides the point.
Hello there.
Um, I
Yeah.
love that they brought back the voice actor for him for like 2 lines.
Yeah.
They're just like, we need you to say some stuff. Which it's just Ewan McGregor, right? He voices the
Yeah.
animated Kenobi. Yeah, they're just like, hey, they after Kenobi, they probably were just like, hey, Ewan, can you say these like 2 lines? And he's just like, yeah, sure.
While we have you here.
Yeah, while you're here, can you just say this, please? Thanks. Just into somebody's iPhone. Um, and it's really cool because at the end of this episode, we actually so Anakin states like if you can beat the 501st, you can pretty much beat anybody. Because for those who don't know, the 501st are like I want to say it's because it's Anakin squad, but it's also because they're just an elite battle unit trained for Anakin to use. That it leads into one of the scenes from the final season of the Clone Wars during Order 66 where Rex like pretends to turn her in and she proceeds to utterly like annihilate the 501st in like a 1v100 over 100 clones.
Uh
Have you seen that last season?
no.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's
That sounds awesome.
so in that last season they explain where Ahsoka is during everything during the last episode, during the last movie. So in episode 3, it
Hmm.
explains where she is in Order 66. It kind of explains why she doesn't help out during Order 66. and it explains like her whatchamacallit. It explains like what she was doing, where she was, why she couldn't help out, and like her reaction to Order 66, which was way better than every other Jedi's reaction. Speaking of Order 66, I want to go back to like episode 3, where he Dooku explains, like he's just like Katri like didn't they were explaining how like she got surprised, and he was just like Katri like she's a trained Jedi, like she's not going to get surprised by anything. What would surprise her is if she was attacked by someone who was friendly to her, right?
Yeah.
I think I just swallowed a hairball.
Oh,
Okay, anyway. Oh wow. Okay. So I feel like that leads credence to a lot of people's arguments of why the clones were able to annihilate so many of them. Like, I'm pretty sure it's explained that most of the deaths of the Jedi in the first like couple minutes of Order 66 is just the fact that these are their team. You know what I mean? They've
yeah.
created bonds with them. I don't think people see the movies and they don't see the scale of time from the beginning of the Clone Wars to the end of the Clone Wars. Take Ahsoka and Anakin's age as reference. Ahsoka's like 11 at the beginning of the Clone Wars. Like the Clone Wars had started, right? And a little bit of time passed and Anakin got a Padawan, right?
Yeah.
She's like in her late teens, maybe 18 by the time that Order 66 happens. That's like closer to a decade that these people have been together. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the clones have no idea. Like it's not like in the comics where like they knew about Order 66 and like it wasn't the plant the plant the implanted chip
Ah,
in their neck. It's something that they're not aware of until like the order goes out. So like these were genuinely their friends, and like we see it in the final season how like some like if you get your inhibitor chip removed, you just function as you normally would. So we saw that in like the Clone Wars proper, like when Order 66 accidentally went out to a clone that was with the 501st and everything like that.
yeah.
I don't think it was the 501st; it was somebody else. But really cool. If I recommend that you watch that last season. And then the last one. So at the end of episode 5, is it at the end of episode 5? No, it's during episode 6. So episode 6 is called Resolve, and it begins with Padme's funeral, and Emperor Amidala, not Padme, Leia's father, adopted father. I forget his name.
Oh. Um. We
Oh,
just saw
Doy.
him.
Yeah, we literally just saw him because we watched because of the Obi-Wan series. Um,
Yeah. Who are you?
we'll get there,
It
ladies and
is
gentlemen.
not Gregor Typho.
Definitely not Gregor Typho.
Is not Clovis. Are uh
Uh,
ah oh Hoo. Old man Amidala. Bail.
Bail
Bail
Amidala.
Organa.
Bail Organa. Amidala. That's her mom's last name. So, Bail Organa meets up with her. She ninjas away after a group of clones come and try to find her. He gives her this communication device. Jump forward, she's doing what every Jedi that survived Order 66 did, including Obi-Wan, as we know. Just kind of became a farmer. You know, Obi-Wan did it with like meat, and she did it with hay. And yeah, it honestly kind of it's honestly the same exact thing that happens to every single Jedi that gets found out. Somebody reports them, everybody dies, and then the Jedi saves the day. This is I don't. Do you know which Inquisitor this is?
I don't know this
But
Inquisitor. I was hoping you would.
he looks
He
like
looks so
Reaper.
cool.
Too bad he's dead.
Oh, he did look like Creeper.
Like too bad he's dead. But like that dude looked cool. That guy was awesome looking.
Um, yeah, no, he's sick. Um, what Inquisitor was this?
I don't know. I don't think it's ever explained like what Inquisitor it is either. So, but he looked like Reaper. So that was the cool thing. Does it? Is it ever explained?
No, it was not.
Okay. Um, he looks really cool. He ended up dying very fast though because Ahsoka has those hands and she is very, very skilled. And then Bail Organa bails them out and the survivors. And yeah, she joins. This is at the point where she joins the rebellion, and for those who know, Rebels plays a part in that show. So yeah, that's uh, that's the series. Um, did you did you find it useful? I found it very informative of like some things that we just didn't know about.
I found that it was fun.
Yeah, definitely
It
fun.
was a nice little time. It was only 15 minutes per episode, so nothing super hard time devote wise, It was just a nice little time.
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty good. Um, like not groundbreaking things, but some things that we knew, but like it was nice to get visualized. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. Um, I don't know if you have any more to say about it, but
No,
we could end things off if you want.
yeah. I scale of 1 to 10.
Honestly, I don't know, like 8.5.
I give it an 8.
Um, I don't think I'd want any more out of it. I don't know, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was good. It kind of reminded me of how Visions was not necessary, but very much welcome. But with that, I think we can wrap things up closer to an hour right here. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. If you ever want to get in contact with us, you can reach us at our Twitter handles. I am at lying_mask.
I am Vincent Barlow 8.
And you can get a hold of either of us at Domestic BF Pod on Twitter. Shout out to Ultimate Maverick X for our art, and yeah, I think that's it. So see you next episode.
See you beautiful people.